My name's David Patterson, also known as ThatDudeInBlue on YouTube, and I have an S13 240SX from 1990. What I have done to it is a very complex question because it was found as basically a barn find under a tarp at Top Speed Motorsports here in Atlanta, which then turned into Sissio Motorsports. And eventually I brought it back home to Virginia at the time, and then I decided to 2J swap it. I was way in over my head, but I did it anyway. And now 11 years later, it's got the motor, got the transmission, and it runs and drives, thankfully. To get it to a point it was drivable, it was actually only about a year and a half or so. And in early 2017, that's when I did my initial review of the car to give my thoughts on. And then the year 2017 came along in the springtime, and then I finally got the chance to drive it up in the mountains, give my thoughts on it, and really understand what I needed to work on and fix later. Well, wait, give it a second. I've driven the car a lot. Thankfully, I actually took it on a road trip to Florida many years ago where I drove it at a half mile on Ocala, then Daytona's track on the Roval, then to Sebring as well. And I drove it all the way back to Atlanta after popping a tire and plugging it. And that was an amazing journey, but a lot was learned on that trip to make it more drivable. Nowadays, it's completely drivable. I love it, but it needs a little bit of work here and there. It's got an oil leak from a fitting, and also the diff isn't quite right. It kind of locks up at times I don't like. So gotta do that, fix that, and then it'll be like the perfect S chassis to me. If the car was absolutely perfect with nothing wrong, I'd probably be daily driving it. I absolutely love the car. I love how it sounds. It's got a GTX Gen 2 Garrett turbocharger on it, and it smacks you in the face. It's a 3071, so it's actually tiny for a 2JZ, but at 3,000 RPM, you're pretty much at full boost. So it just shreds the tires immediately. So accelerating a straight line on these tires anymore with the angle kit, it doesn't really go straight anymore, but that's what makes it fun. I built this car because I had a 2013 Mustang, which I still own, dork brain. I have a 2013 Mustang GT in Grabber Blue, and everybody in my YouTube channel really liked it. And everybody said, okay, you have the American car, how about you do a Japanese car? And I looked at all my options at the time. You know, Mark IV Supra was very expensive, and it's even more expensive now. So I couldn't afford that. Skylines were out of the picture. All that stuff was out of the picture. I was like, okay, what's more relatable to most import fans that isn't a Honda Civic or something along those lines that's rear-wheel drive? So I was like, why don't I just make a mini Supra? So I got the 240SX, 2J swapped it, and then said, okay, now I have my Supra, but it's the same idea of something fun and relatable for most people.
Should people dream about owning this chassis?
If you were to ask me in 2015, I think an S13 or an S14 is a very feasible goal. And I think a lot of people would have really enjoyed building them. But at the time, I think it was the right car for many people. But as of today, I would hesitate. Parts are a little harder to find. They're getting old. I think for the aesthetics, absolutely. They look cool. They have a certain vibe to them, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, especially with the pop-ups. But there's a lot more modern cars today that can do this much better, in my opinion, which is probably a hot take. If you want to go on the journey of building an old car, absolutely. But if you want less hassle, no. I think a lot of people find the S chassis in general to be a holy grail car of that era because it was rear-wheel drive, pretty affordable for most people. You know, at one point you can get a running and driving 240SX for like 500 bucks. Those days are gone. And I think it just had a huge appeal because of how accessible it was. And of course the drift community, but also the drag racing community. It was a rear-wheel drive platform. You could put almost any motor in it. A lot of people kind of say the 240 is almost like the Japanese Fox body, right? You can do almost anything with it, and it's a blank canvas, and that's what makes it so special. In hindsight, I don't regret building the car at all. I made so many amazing memories, met so many amazing people. I learned a lot with this car, and this car makes so many people's day when they finally see it after all these years. But yeah, in hindsight, I could have a much nicer car with all the money dumped into this thing. I actually find the future of the 240SX to be in kind of a weird spot. It's either going to still be a drift car where people thrash them and go nuts with them, or it's almost more impressive to see a 100% stock one. And those are probably going to be collector cars, in my opinion, because now that the internet has really loved this era of cars, it's kind of a back to analog feeling. I think a lot of people have that disconnect of buying a modern car and not getting the same sensations and all that kind of stuff, and the satisfying switches you push, all those little things, kind of like a Miata, same thing, same argument. The values are gonna go up and it's gonna be much harder to get them, I think. So when it comes to all my import cars, I have quite a few. I have Hondas and other stuff, but this is probably my forever JDM car. I have so many memories, building it with friends, and even with all the heartaches and false promises to myself to get to that finish line, it's such a relief now that I can get in it, hit the PDM, turn it on, and not have to stress about it. It will fire up as long as I charge the battery, right? Because old car. But once I get these quality of life things to a much better state, then I'm gonna put a zillion miles on this car, because I just can't stare at this pretty car and just let it sit there. Like, I can't. I've never been a car collector guy. I've never cared about mileage or anything. And that's why I want to be true to this car and be like, okay, I finished you. Now enjoy it, rather it being a pretty blue lawn ornament, right? So it's gonna be great. I think once I get a little bit through the kinks, it's gonna be one of the most memorable cars to drive all the time, even with no AC.